you're gonna have to excuse the puppies in the background. Come on, guys, give me a break. They're having so much fun. Hi, folks. Welcome to this episode of Michael's 3D World. In this episode, I'm going to show you something I did to make an improvement on the CR10. I didn't know the CR10 has been a really good one. This is a CR10 V3, version 2. It's got the silent boards, the whole 9 yards. You guys have seen me do some mods already by putting Noctua fans in the controller, and I had a little incident. I've had to take this apart 3 times in the course of having it for come on, guys, in the course of having it for about 3 months now. Maybe, well, yeah, probably around 3 months tops so far. Anyway, these guys aren't going to relax. Anyway, in the course of having it, I've had to take this apart and do a little service work on the extruder where I've got some debris in there, a stuck piece of filament in there, stuff like that. Well, the stock one, I'll show you what's not serviceable on it in just a second. There's one screw that you can't get off without disassembling the whole thing, and it's just not designed to work well together. So I have the Maker's Muse. I also had the same issue with converting this direct drive into something more user-friendly, which now I have. I'm going to show you up close what the difference is and what they look like. And what I want to talk to specifically is right here. That screw right there that's behind this one. That one you can't get out without taking the whole thing apart. And there's like, I think 5 screws on the back that disassembled this from the crossbar piece. And then there's screws in behind here. You got to take this 4 fan screws out. And then you can access, I think there's 3 screws behind the fan screws, and then you can literally split this thing in half. I think it was there. I was pretty sure it was there. Anyway, matter of fact, let's look at the other piece. Hold on. So this is what this piece looks like off the machine. As you can see, there's 3 screws down in here. There's one right down in here, over here, and over here. Not this one you see up top here, but down in there. To split this in half to get it off the thermal brake. I think it's called a thermal brake. So that splits it apart. And then you've got on this end where your fan is sitting. Get this in the right spot. So if you want to split it apart, you got to take your fan loose to get it apart. And once you get it off of there, then you got access to be able to get this loose and be able to pull these 4 screws out and access what's in here. So I didn't like that. I found it to be painful. The 3 times I've had to do it, I'm like, enough is enough. And I followed a guy called Maker's Muse. He's got a really good channel when it comes to 3D printing. And I saw that he had this thing. I had a link to it on Thingiverse, and I'll put a link to it. Now, I've modified this. This originally has a design, and I'll show you. On Thingiverse, this is the size fan that it has on there for Thingiverse, and that's just not enough. That's a little 30mm fan, and that's how it was designed. This will snap on there, yeah, like this. That's how it goes in place. Let me get you in the picture. Goes on like that, but I wanted a little bit bigger fan. So I already had a 40mm, and this one has a 40mm. I'm going to reuse this 40 just to show you that you can. And then I'll probably upgrade it to a Noctua fan, because on this one I have a Noctua fan 40mm by 20, pushes a lot of air, and I've got a buck converter mounted right back here. So I've got the buck converter taking it down to the 12 volts, because normally it's a 24 volt line coming here. And then you got your part cooling fan right here, and as you can see, it's doing a great job. I mean, everything's printing out just like you want it to, so no worries there. But so I'm going to walk you through step by step what I did to take it from this to this. And the other nice thing about this is I can actually see my tip a little bit better when I'm watching it print. You can look underneath there and see things. I can service this, this, and this all individually. I don't have to pull anything apart. I'm just using the 2 screws back here that's on the back sides that mount this little metal bracket to here, and everything's coming off of that. So it's really simple. Really, it's kind of simple, elegant. Let's call it that. And this one will be, I'll have this up on Thingiverse. This will be a remix that I did, because I took this existing one, brought it into Fusion 360, modified it so that this would hold a 40mm fan, which is much better. As you can see here, I've got it on this printer. It's just finished up. And see, as you can see, I've got it set up. Let's see if I can get in the light here so you can see it. You can see how I did that. I made it added this basically onto it. Added this right here onto it, and then put a funnel shape down in there so it all necked down to the same size it originally was. Seems to work really well so far. This print's been going for, well, right out, it's 4 minutes away from 14 hours, and it's just printing flawlessly. Everything's doing what it should. Plus, I'm going to show you something I did in here. There was the Bowden tube that's inside was about, oh golly, maybe a millimeter and a half short, and it let a bunch of crud build up behind it. I'm going to show you how to measure and cut your Bowden tube so that it's the right length, so you don't have that excess play. Them dogs just ain't giving up. Puppy power. But anyway, we're going to get digging into this. You guys are going to like this little project. What does that look like down here? It's hard to see right now so far, but I took it. Hey, dogs. They won't give up. I drew up a shotgun shell, 20 gauge shotgun shell, and then wow, that's loud. And then I scaled it up, and I'm gonna have a clock face right here. As you guys have watched my last video, you know I've been messing around with clock stuff. But I'm a 20 gauge shotgun shell here. Let me show you what the bottom's gonna look like. Now this was off of a failed print here, and I started over, but you can see here, I've actually got lettering in the bottom. Looks like it's gonna look like a primer on the bottom, so it's gonna look like a real big shell. It's gonna be kind of cool. Anyway, that's what we're gonna be doing today, so stick around if you wanna see how to do that and do it right, the way I do it. And don't forget to hit the subscribe and the thumbs up button. That helps me out a lot, I much appreciate it. Everything you're gonna see in this video today will be in links below in the comments, so follow the links to the products and the pieces and the parts and the bolts and the screws and the screwdrivers and the fans and everything in between to do this job. Promise you, it's going to be fun, and it's also very rewarding when you do something like this and it works. And now I know that if I have another jam up in here again, this is going to be so easy. 4 screws, and I can pull that apart, clean it out, put it back together. Basically 2 screws here and another screw, and I can pull everything off that thing. It's just going to be nice. Replacing the hot end, also very easy. I like it. It just turned out well. So let's jump in right now. Alrighty, first thing we got to do is disassemble. Now, what I've already done here is I've preheated up the hot end, and I've taken the filament out, and then I've let it cool back down, so I'm ready to disassemble. First thing I'm going to do is undo these top 2 little screws here. And I know I've mentioned this in my other videos, guys, and this IFIXIT kit, there'll be a link in the description down below. It's a must-have if you're going to be working on these things, because it's got all the little drivers and bits you need to be able to remove all this fun stuff we're working on here. It's got the magnetic tip. It's got the little swivel bearing here. Makes it nice for just spinning this stuff out. So there's 5 screws on the back. I just took off the upper 2. And I'll take off this one, and there's 2 below the bar. And I believe that's it. I believe this will be free and clear. Alright, so our unit is now free and clear. We're going to come around to the front and set it on the table. Then after we've got it disassembled from there, we're going to go ahead and finish removing and disassembling the rest of the pieces into its own individual pieces. So we're going to go ahead and remove this fan. Take these 2 screws, the little tray, that's now free. Flip it over. We're going to take this fan loose. Go. And then you gotta come clear to the back side here, reach inside here to break these loose. Now you can see why I don't like this one, because all this makes it difficult to get that apart. There we go. Now we're free and clear of that piece of crap. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is take the smaller bit that I've got here and get in here and take these two screws out here. I'm going to get in here and show you why. Why I'm disassembling this completely, because there's some, if it's the same as happened on my other CR10, there is a little bit of a something I didn't like seeing. Okay, so there's little bushings in here. Those look like they fell out of my other one, but they're kind of stuck here, which is fine. I'll pull this out. I doubt I can pull it out with it. Yeah, while it's not hot, I can't pull it out. But on the other one, it had a gap down here, and it let buildup happen in between here. We'll see if this one did that or not. Now we want to be careful on this next step, because things are going to get heated up here. We're going to go ahead and turn it back on and heat this thing up so I can pull out this tip, because I want to take a look at what's going on behind the tip, and I want to be able to pull this piece out and see how it looks behind it. So make sure your fan here that's going to come on is just not in the way of anything, and power her up and be very careful. Now I've got it warming up to 200 degrees. It's already up to 74. I've got my little socket set here. That fits the tip. Allows me to break that loose. And I've got me a pair of pliers here, so I can hold onto this thing gently without doing any damage to it. Once it gets up to temperature, I'll remove the tip. It's up to 173 already. Let's see if she'll break loose. Oops. Yep. I'll go ahead and take this tip all the way out. And while it's hot, I'm going to go ahead and pull this Bowden tube out. Hopefully I can, yeah. Now look at there. I wanted to show you that. Look at all that. Let's see if I can make sure you're in the screen. Look at all that filament. I ran a lot of yellow, and you can see how badly this is deteriorated. Oh yeah, this is like, look at that Bowden tube's destroyed. No good. And this actually, I just did a print on it. It was actually printing really good, but yeah, that's ruined. I gotta put a new one on. And now I'm gonna, while it's hot, I'm gonna take a look down inside here to see if I can see because this Bowden tube should actually be pretty clear all the way through here. There, see I pushed out some more gunk right there. You want that to be clean all the way through there. That looks pretty good. Now that it's clean, I'll go ahead and turn it back off. Now that it's off, I'll take this little fan here. Just kind of set it here so it can kind of blow on it and cool it right down. We'll let that cool back down so we can handle it. And we'll move on to the next step. Alrighty, now that we've got it cleaned out and I got me a new tip, I'm going to put a new tip in it. As long as you're doing all this, why not take the effort to put a new tip in it? I'm going to put a new tip in it, and it goes up against the shoulder on this thing. So you want to go ahead and bottom it out against that shoulder. Don't get crazy, tighten it up. Once that's done, now we can cool her down so we can handle it. So on my last one I did, my measurements came out to 81.53 millimeters is how long this Bowden tube needed to be. So I'm going to double check it here. I've cut this one just a little bit long, and I'll show you how I come about this number. So we're going to put that right in there like that. And see right there is bottomed out. That's where the Capricorn tube is bottomed out. We're going to take a measurement real quick with my calipers. Just going to hold this tight and measure from here to here. 10.7 millimeter. Okay, what I've done is I've installed these two little screws back into here with the little bushings and just kind of just snugged it up, not very tight. Now I'm going to measure the difference in this gap that I have right here. And get in there. I apologize if I can't get this in the camera shot for you. I'm going to try to here. Okay, now I've got a measurement here of, let's call it 2.89 millimeter. Okay, our measurement on the other piece with the Bowden tube in it was 10.7. Our measurement without the Bowden tube in it is 2.89. So that leaves me a difference of 7.81. So that means I gotta take 7.81 off of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure this now. And right now I've got 89.28. 89.28. So that tells me that this needs to be, so I took 89.28 minus 7.81, comes up to 81.47. So that's really close to my other one, which was 81.53. So I'm going to cut this off until I get down to 81.47 to maybe just a touch longer. So that is actually, when this is in here, it's actually trapped tight so that your melted PLA or printing material can't get up around and cause you problems. Or possibly have this happen. That's a big old yucky. So I'm going to get busy cutting this off. Okay, now I've cut my tube to precisely the length I need it to be. I'm going to go ahead and take these back out. And we'll slip our Bowden tube in. And that, quite honestly, is like the worst part of the job is getting that measurement right so this thing acts right. That goes in there nice and tight. We'll get this up in there. Bushing's probably slid back a little bit. Oh yeah, there we go. So then we'll just go ahead and tighten these back down. Perfect. Now what I like to do here is take a piece of filament and we'll slide it in here and make sure I can get it all the way down where it feels like it's passing through here. Yep, that's going right all the way down in there beautifully. That'll be perfect. So that piece is done. Now the nice thing about the way this is set up here is this thing can rotate. It can spin inside here, so it's not, doesn't have to be in the exact location, right? You hear my little fan vibrating there. We're going ahead and power this off now because I don't need it on anymore. Now that you have your new piece printed that you're going to put on here, this piece goes in here like that, slides right in there. These things will be on Thingiverse. I'm going to take a 3mm by 20mm long socket head cap screw. I'll be a link in the description below for the kit that you can have all these screws available to you. So that's going to be tightened on there. As you can see, what's going to fasten onto here is that fan right there is going to bolt right into place right there. But we'll put that on last. The other thing that's going to bolt onto here will be this fan. Will bolt right onto there. So you get to still use your 40mm fan. Like I said, the other one was designed and drawn up to put on a 30mm, but why not use the one you already have? So now I'm going to go ahead and pop this on. And this here will be, let's see if I can show you, this here will be just below that opening right there when we're done. So we're going to go ahead and slip this on there. And it'll pop into place. Just like that. We can slide this down just a touch. Be about right there. Now this is going to bolt back up like this. And we're going to want this thing turned a little bit. And I'll show you why. Alright, this is going to go on approximately this position. What you're going to have here is the back. Here's your two flat screw holes that are going to go up here on your mounting area. And when you have this sitting on here like this, this is basically pointing at you at about a 45-degree angle. And you're going to rotate your hot end element so it's at that same angle. And this will give us clearance for everything. So as you can see there, that's the position you want that to be in. And with that being in that position, we're going to go ahead and put a 30mm screw. Here again, another screw out of the kit. A 30mm screw with that's 30mm long, 3mm diameter. We're going to go ahead and put that screw on here. And it's easier to do it while it's laying down here, honestly, than it is while it's hanging up. Let's see if I can get in here. My fingers don't like these little tiny screws. There we go. Once we got it set up like that, so that's pointed at a 45, everything clears when it's in place and it all works pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and snug that on down. Like that. Now that can't go anywhere. That's locked in. While I got it down here on the table, I'm going to go ahead and bring this fan around. And screw it into place. Now what I did off camera is I took a screw and I went ahead and ran down in each one of these holes, just so it was already basically threaded it with the bolt. This thing will actually have the right size hole in it when you print it to be able to do that. And if you want to put this guard back on, you can. I'm choosing not to, because I want it to pass through there as much air as it can. Now once that's back in place there like that, you can go ahead and put your little silicone boot back on. Alrighty, once you got all that bolted up there, here we are, all put back together. We're going to go ahead and put the bolt this right back in place. And we're just using the upper two screws up here right now, and that's it. That's all you need. Well, there it is, all done. Got the wire management taken care of, a couple of zip ties, clean and neat. You can pull this fan off, you can pull that fan off, you can pull this off independently and leave this hanging in place. The other thing you can also do is you can take this plate off now, because there's nothing in the way, and service anything in here. Pretty cool. The last thing I'm going to do is, this machine, for whatever reason, did not have a Bowden tube into the top here. And I didn't notice it was missing anything up here until I got my new machine and it had a piece of tube up here. So basically this is just a tube that goes right in here. And hang on, it's a little longer than that. There. Goes down about that far. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll make it about right there. We'll leave a little bit sticking out of the top there. That helps to act as a filament guide now, which also I found out with it in there helps me guide this through a little bit better. So now, boom, right down in there, I'm loaded. That's it, it's done. Now all that's left to do is re-level the bed, because now we've made some height adjustments here. We've messed with things a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is power this thing on, send it home, level the bed, and we're ready to print. It's just that simple. Well, there it is, complete with the little temperature and humidity thing installed. This will also be on Thingiverse, and so will this will be on the Amazon link below to order your own. Well, folks, that's the long and the short of how to do a quick little upgrade to your CR10 V3. I think this is a version. Yeah, CR10 V3. I think this is V3. I'm almost positive. I get confused. There's so many numbers. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. These were some neat little upgrades. I'm very pleased with how this turned out. I think one of the big wins here is the serviceability of each individual component now. And the even bigger win is that Bowden tube. Me getting in there and learning what that Bowden tube looked like before, and the fact that it was not the right length to start with from the factory. It had play in there. I've eliminated that play by doing what I've done here, by showing you how to measure it, how to service it basically. Time will tell how long it lasts. I have a feeling it will last a very long time. I print with these things many hours at a time. It's not unusual for me to do a 4-day long print. And I need the reliability factor in there for that. You don't want to get halfway through a print and smoke half a spool of filament just to fail because something design-wise wasn't quite what it needed to be. But don't be afraid to follow the links down below in the description. They will have links to the things on Thingiverse, the things to Amazon, any tools, any screws, any bolts, anything like that I used to show in this video how I did it will be all in the links below. Follow those links. Those links will take you straight to the product, and then you can make purchases. You can make other purchases from there as well. And then check out as normal. There's no difference in Amazon logging into your own Amazon account and buying it through there. You get the same all the same discounts and the same everything you experience through your own login. Matter of fact, it'll show your name up there in your shopping cart on your computer anyway. So it's really no different, other than by following the links, I get a little bit of a commission from Amazon for directing you to Amazon and their products. It doesn't cost you a dime more, but it helps support the channel. So that's much appreciated. Don't be afraid to give me that thumbs up. That really helps the algorithms on Amazon, or not Amazon, YouTube, in order to drive people to see more of my videos. And trying to think if there's anything else I left out. I think we got this one all covered. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I learned a lot doing this. I learned a lot sharing it with you. Ouch, I just hit my light. Oh, you guys should check these little lights out. These are like little tiny LED lights, as you can see here on my hand. Just little touch lights, like, yeah, turn off, turn on. That's what I use, these little mini LED lights hooked into my Raspberry Pi board to, what's it doing? Oh, there we go. It's touch for brightness too. But anyway, I use that so I can turn off my lights in here, so when I'm actually got my camera running, doing time lapse through Octoprint, and or if I just want to check in remotely, I can check in and see what's going on. Anyway, I won't keep you tied up any longer. I appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed what I did here. And you guys stay tuned for another video coming out soon. I don't know what my next project's going to be, but I'm sure it's going to be exciting and fun, because I just love tinkering, and I think we're going to do some more design stuff and print some more stuff and share that with you as well. So this is Michael saying have some fun, get out there, create, design, inspire others to do the same, and I'm out.